right, hey everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Director's Playbook. I'm Paul Lovelace, and I'm really excited for today's topic. It's going to be really cool. So we're talking about something a little bit different, something about making a real impact in funeral homes today, and that's therapy dogs. Yeah, you heard me right, therapy dogs. And I'm joined by Bryan Hicks, General Manager at Elmwood Funeral Home. Hey Bryan, I really appreciate you being with us today.
Hey, it's good to be here. Excited.
Yeah, well, tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us a little bit about how you found your way into funeral service before we get too deep in today's subject.
Well, background of my personal background is ministry for the most part. I went into ministry when I was way too young to be doing it, and nobody would trust me, and because I was younger than their kids. But once you weather that a little bit, you can do anything. So that just kind of rolled into helping people with their funerals, of course, through church, and then going to some funeral homes and being the minister they called if somebody didn't have somebody. And that, and if you're listening to this and you're a funeral director, then you know exactly. That turned into, hey, come drive a car, come carry a flower, go to work part-time, let's go to funeral school. And 18 years later, I'm still here at Elmwood.
That's incredible. And they're so blessed to have you, and so are we. And so I love your background, love your story. And I know we want to talk a little bit about therapy dogs today. And the star of the show is Holly. She's even got her own calendar, by the way, which I was pretty impressed with. Whose idea was that? That's pretty cool.
We started that the year after she came on board here, and but she's a superstar. She's got billboards, commercials, does a calendar every year. She's better at taking pictures than any of us now.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, I think it's great because, I don't know about everybody listening to it, but I love dogs, and we've always been a dog family. We have a golden doodle also, and we also have a West Highland Terrier, and I don't think they'd be very good therapy dogs, but they're great, to lift my spirits after a long day, you know what I mean?
That's right. Everybody gets therapy from their dog. That's the thing.
Well, I guess take us back to the beginning, if you don't mind, Bryan. Whose idea was this? How did you think about, hey, good idea to bring a therapy dog into the funeral home?
That's a good question. Of how that went down, but just that was 2018 is when Holly come on board, and she is 8 years old now, and so just started kind of looking around. I saw that it was going on. There wasn't a lot of it even back then. I found one funeral home that had a therapy dog in-house in Dallas and one in Lubbock, and one up in Ohio, I think, that I called and visited with and talked to them about, and just trying to figure out the ins and outs of it. I began hearing the horror stories of the funeral homes that had their dogs that weren't therapy dogs, weren't, they just brought their dogs to work every day, and families were, not very impressed with the way they were handling things. So I immediately decided that if we're going to do this, we gotta do this right. And so that's kind of started the wheels to turning, and began doing some research on companies and organizations that did dog training and did those things. And so we reached out. Holly came from a company out of Dallas that was doing C&I dogs and all kind of therapy dogs. And she actually she'd been in the C&I dog program for about 18 months when we come along. Okay. And her size was perfect for the funeral home. She's 48 pounds, but her siblings are almost 100. So she was the perfect one to have here in this place. So just kind of snowballed from there to sound like a great idea to me. And I'm with you. I love dogs, and we always had dogs, and the kids had moved out and taken their dogs. And so we didn't have a dog, and it was a perfect time to kind of do that through the funeral home, and then her to go home with us and kind of become our dog too.
I love it. Well, I don't guess she's nearby. She can come on for a brief cameo. She is the star of the show. Let's get a look-see at Holly.
Oh, come here. Hey, come here. Holly's so trained, she's like,
look at that.
Holly.
You got her. Looks like she just got back from the beauty shop.
She went this morning, actually. Oh. Look right here.
Who's a good dog?
There she is. Oh, she's a good girl. She's willing to do about anything you want to do and anything you tell her to do for the most part. So she's better trained than any of the other employees here.
And you said she is a golden doodle, right?
So she is a golden doodle. She was 18 months old when we got her, actually in May of 2018. So May the 18th. So coming up here pretty soon will be the anniversary of of us getting her back in 2018. So she's old. She's old at it now.
Well, I bet she gets lots of treats, and hopefully she's getting some time off. I know she works hard.
She does work hard, but
adorable.
you can't take the dog out of a dog, right? So,
That's right.
so
I love it.
she's a lot of good though. She does a great job for us around here. So she goes to the groomer every other Tuesday. So she just got back today.
Yeah.
Because you got everybody rubbing on her all the time and patting on her,
course.
keeps her hair oily and all that. So she has to go get her blowouts every other Tuesday.
Well, I was trying to find some statistics about how many therapy dogs are actually in funeral homes. Do you have any idea of how? I know it's more popular maybe than it used to be, especially after COVID, but I couldn't find anything.
Now, I hadn't seen many statistics on it. I can just know from my own, like I said, I found 3 in 2018 that I know there were some more out there but 3 that we could really call on and check on. And, but now I could give you a list of 10 or 12 right now off the top of my head that people have and have went and got some good dogs and doing some good stuff with them.
I just know from our own, day-to-day walk, we see funeral homes who have dogs. Some of them they're on the website. They're part of the staff. They got their own business cards. So they're really part of the team. And just like you guys have made Holly there, and that's pretty awesome. You know what I'm not seeing? Therapy cats. Why is that? Have you seen any therapy cats in your day?
No, I think I'll turn in my director's license when that happens. You can't have a therapy dog and be a cat person. We are all dogs. We ain't talking about cats or we're signing off.
Oh, no, that's funny. We used to have a cat one time, and that cat didn't care about anything as long as, someone came over to the house and they just went the other way. So that wouldn't work very well at the funeral home.
Yeah, I don't think that'd be the right kind of therapy.
So, thinking about dogs here as far as different breeds, do you know if there are certain breeds that lend themselves to being good therapy dogs in the funeral home versus others?
Well, personally on a logistical side, I think the more, anti-allergy and the more, better hair and the less shedding and all of that.
Not shedding.
Is probably better on the logistical side and the logical side. But I do think these golden doodles, I think these labs, I think these dogs that are just so people oriented, that it's just in them to snuggle up next to you kind of is the way to go. And then I think the mid-sized dog is the way to go that's just personal opinion. I think that she's not big enough to scare everybody, but she's not small enough to get stepped on with a crowd of people and stuff like that.
I've seen many golden doodles, and we've seen Labradors, we've seen golden retrievers, and just like you said, so those seem to be very gentle, very good with people, and just have a good rapport with others.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely not a animal expert or a vet or anything, but I just think those dogs kind of have that hunting instinct, want to please their owners a little bit, and I think that's what brings it out in them, and they just want to do what they need to do.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of Chihuahuas and Dachshunds and those kind of hyper dogs because you really want them to be soothing and to bring down the stress there at the funeral home, right, when families are there.
Yeah, I think running around inside your feet and all that stuff wouldn't be the way to go.
Not at all. Well, let's talk about some of the practical things, I guess. I know you mentioned training and preparation a little bit about Holly's background. So is this an ongoing kind of thing you have to train her on, or what type of work if a funeral home is looking to start having a therapy dog in their business, what would they have to be prepared for?
And I think it's the initial training, and I'm like what I said we did. We went and got her from a company that was already doing it. She had been so trained. She's sitting with 40 or 50 hand signals that we could give her. I don't keep up with some of that, but she got the hand signal training, and then she has the verbal training. So I think just being consistent with that. And then I know people that have dogs. We got a friend that he's got 2 now that he's gotten, and they do the funeral home stuff, and he did all the training with them. He went twice a week, every week, and did all the training with them. I honestly, if I'm being honest about it, the employees and me as her handler was much harder to train than she is, to know how to control that, how to handle her in the right thing, and how to keep her in the correct frame of mind.
Yeah, yeah. Can you speak to that a little bit? I mean, I guess practically during a visitation or during a funeral service, how's that look uh, when you're dealing with Holly?
Well, on a day to day, Holly usually never sees a leash around here because she's so good.
Okay.
We might, if a family comes in and we're going to take her in where they're at, we might put her on a leash. But normally we just take her in with us and let her work the room. I can go to the room and tell her to visit, and she'll go check every person in that room out, and kind of just check on them, see where they are. And she just has a way of, and I think a lot of dogs do, she just has a way to end up right back beside, sitting on the foot or sitting against the leg of the person that maybe, at least they say, boy, that's what I needed. Now, I think everybody in the room would say that probably. But they always like, she knew I needed her right now. But now at a visitation or a funeral service, when we got the building full, we'll put her on a leash. And we'll just kind of walk her around or stand in one spot more than anything and let people come to her. Just in case there are people. I mean, yeah. It blows my mind how you could be scared of a fluff ball like that. But some people have dog issues. Some people have those things. So we never want to, put them face to face with their fear by coming into our place. So
right.
if there's a whole lot of people there, then we'll probably post up in the corner, have her there. She'll sit or lay down there and let people kind of come to her and visit her and just kind of work the room that way.
So if somebody does have a phobia, they don't have to get near the dog.
Yeah, and they don't have to spend their whole time looking over their shoulder worried that she's going to walk out. There's my funny statistics, I kind of keep track of it. I've only had 2 in all the years she's been here that told me they were scared of dogs, that didn't want anything to do with her. Okay. And I've only had 1 person that Holly didn't like and wouldn't have nothing to do with. So
only 1.
So we'll just leave that right there where it is. I don't know what the story was, but Holly would not have anything to do with 1. So.
Well, they have a good sense about them, so who knows? But
so
in 8 years, that's pretty low. That's
Yeah, we just walked on off. That's kind of how I do it. She's usually in the back more than just running around the whole building. And then when we have an arrangement or we bring families in, I'll ask them during that, hey, do you guys like dogs? You want to meet Holly? She's our most popular employee here or whatever. And most everybody's just, we don't know why you hadn't got her in here yet. And then she's the star of the show.
I would think so, because I think 50% of households in the United States have a dog, or so they love dogs, obviously. But I'm just curious about maybe some success stories in your mind that you can think of where families just raved about having Holly.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of them. There's a lot. I mean, we get the Google reviews and the Yelp reviews and the reviews back to Facebook that people say we love meeting Holly. But I get people that just stop by and say, hey, we met Holly at a service. We just want to stop by and see if she's here. So we get people just to come visit her. From the business side and the business standpoint of it, we have had people choose the funeral home because of Holly. We've had people come write their pre-needs because they met Holly and stuff like that. So from the business side, it's successful also. But I think my answer to the question is anytime I see anybody, you expect it out of the kids, but anytime I see a 70-year-old, 80-year-old little lady or that's lost her husband or anybody say, help me get down on the floor with this dog, I think that's what catches my attention. And so anytime anybody gets in the floor with her, and it happens all the time, they'll want to get down on the floor and just sit with her, let her lay across their legs, let her lay against them. And so anytime you're doing that and you walk in and see somebody sitting there with Holly and see her looking at them and them shedding tears, there's something deeper going on than just a dog running around the room. And that's the whole point.
Isn't that the truth? That's great. Thank you for sharing on that. And I guess, for potential owners of therapy dogs in their funeral home, if there's anybody might be considering that, or any mistakes or any pitfalls they should be on the lookout for as they're making this decision.
No, I think the thing for me, and we've kind of touched on it a couple times, the training issue. I think it's very important. I don't want to get blasted on the podcast for saying anything against rescue dogs, because I'm with you. Let's go get a rescue dog for my house. But if you are going to go rescue dog, then I think you got to be committed to getting the training. I think we're doing almost a disservice if we put a dog in a funeral home that's a distraction from what the family needs to get out of coming to our funeral homes. They walk through the front door, there's something every family needs. And I think if we bring one in that's distracting from that, we're not helping our communities at all. And then I think the next thing is the consistency. This is my girl over here. I hope my wife or daughter don't watch the podcast, but this is my girl. And we'll be sitting at night, and I'm sitting there wanting to say, "Hey, Holly, jump up here on the couch by me." But she was trained to not get on the furniture, not jump on people, not eat from people. She eats from the dog food. She don't eat anything else. Simply because that all contributes to the way she behaves. It contributes to her coat. It contributes to her smells she lets out in the place. And so I think the hardest part is the consistency of she's at work here, and when we go home, yes, she's a dog. This dog over here will chase a tennis ball all night long and catch frisbees. She is awesome at it. But some of the behaviors we have to keep going even at home, so that she doesn't come up here and jump on the furniture and jump on the things and get up on people. So I think the pitfalls are the not being consistent, and because she just can't clock out like we do, even though it's go home time.
But she does go home with you every day, just to be
She
clear.
goes home with us every day. She's with me. If I'm here, she's here. She's with me pretty much everywhere I go. Now during the day, if I got to go leave and do errands, or she stays here at the funeral home, but she goes home with us. And we go play and we do all those things, but we try to be consistent on the basic guidelines so that when families come in, she adds to what they're getting, not takes away from what they're getting.
Oh, that's so good. Well, and I guess this is an investment to some degree. So can you speak to the I guess the financials of it, in case someone's wondering what kind of commitment are they talking about here, just in generalities?
Well, we won't talk about what it costs to get one from an organization that's trained them so long, but like I said a while ago, I think it is a commitment. I think it needs to be looked at as an investment to your community. It is a commitment to the funeral home. It's a commitment to her, but a commitment to the community. So she goes every other Tuesday. She has a standing appointment at the hairstylist, and to get that hair done, and that adds up.
She's got to look good. She
eats good dog food. Because you don't want her. We'll just leave it at putting out all the smells that dogs can do in the funeral home, and want her coat to stay healthy and doing good. And the vet is important for that, and getting all of her stuff. And then, the things that you need to do, International Therapy Dogs. She's a member. We've been a member of International Therapy Dogs. So there's dues for that every year so that she could go into the hospitals and nursing homes and schools if she wants to. She had enough training that she qualifies to pretty much, she can qualify, and is a card carrying service dog. It's not something we do much of, but she can, in case I needed to travel with her to go places and stay like that, because we've taken her, we
on the road.
Mentioned a while ago about the families that come in here, but some of the greatest things I've done with her, and me and Holly through the divinity of the Lord only. It wasn't by choice. We ended up in Uvalde for the school shooting for 2 weeks, and to watch those families with Holly was amazing. So keeping up with all those things so that she can go do that, I think takes it above and beyond what she does here at Elmwood only. So I think it's amazing.
That's great that you can get her out of the funeral home too and let her, do her thing out in public. That's good.
Yeah, we have a little thing on the website that if you want her to come visit, you can fill it out and it'll send it straight to us. And so we try to get her out in the community a little bit.
What a good idea. Yeah, she's a star.
Yeah.
Hey, well, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask her what kind of tricks can she do. I mean, she's got to know some.
Yeah,
some
of course, she's a sitting a lay and a stay dog like you've never seen. I can tell her to stay and she'll be there 3 hours from now. But she can shake and she can roll over good. And she is a tennis ball. They don't hardly hit the ground unless you really throw it. And she can play ball. She can catch a frisbee really good. So she's athletic.
Bryan, what about the staff, the rest of the team there at the funeral home? How does Holly interact with them, and what's their responsibilities in handling Holly?
So I made some notes before I did this because there's a few things I wanted to make sure I covered. And one was like consistency. One was those. The third thing on here I want to make sure I covered, and I was going to end it with the last closing question if you ask one, was the surprise that I've had over the years is that she, I'm great. She's here for the community. She does great for families, but she has done so much more for this staff than I ever imagined. Because, you go into something, you don't think about yourself in it, right? So,
Yeah.
so we went to get the dog and thought about getting a therapy dog and doing all that. And immediately it was like what she could do for families, what she could do for kids, what she could do for everybody else. But, if you're listening to this, there's tough days in a funeral home. There's tough days, and you don't realize what you carry around when you're in the middle of it yourself. But immediately, once we got Holly, I began to see the staff come and sit down for 5 minutes beside her on the floor, or pull her up beside them. We'd have a funeral for a little kid, and next thing you know, the staff is just hugged up by Holly and talking to Holly and saying, "Hey, can I take Holly out back for a walk for just a minute?" or all those things, and we're blessed. We're sitting on a cemetery here too, so you can put her on a leash, take her outside, or go out, take the vest off of her, and go out and throw the ball a little bit. And so the benefit that she's had for this staff here is probably the number one. If you're going to be selfish, for sure, that's probably helped the community more than anything, because it's helped the staff stay grounded in what we do and be able to have an outlet and be able to deal with our grief a little bit through the grief dog. And it's been an amazing journey, just watching the benefit of the staff. So I tell people, and I've told people, I said, listen, get a grief dog for your community, get a grief dog for your families, but man, get a grief dog for your staff. You want to offer your staff an amenity that they don't even know they need? Put a dog like Holly in here and let them have her around the office every day. It's amazing.
That is great advice, Bryan, and something I think a lot of people probably haven't thought of, and I know I haven't. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, it's been a journey, and it's awesome to see.
Well, listen, Bryan, thank you again for being here. This is so cool. I've really enjoyed our time together. It was great to meet Holly, and she's just adorable. And keep giving her treats and keep doing your thing. Come here. And let's say bye to her real quick.
Come here. Come up here and sit. There you go.
Holly, thanks for being on the show. You're adorable.
See you later.
Who's a good dog? We'll see you later.
This has been fun, and man, anything I can do to help people, and if anybody wants to reach out and talk about it or talk to me about it, I'll be glad to visit with them or send them things, or we can send them some calendars.
Indeed. Well, again, it's been a fascinating conversation, and thanks for all our listeners for tuning in to the Director's Playbook. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you do subscribe and check out more of our content online. Until next time, take care and be well. Thanks, everybody.